Fancy seeing you here. It's quite a forgotten corner of the world. You won't find another person for miles. Here, if a tree falls, it makes no sound. Likewise, if a lonely man were to scream at the top of his lungs, he'd not be heard. You found yourself in a rare situation in the middle of the 21st century. The global population has been consolidated like never before. Not far from here is former MIT professor, scholar, and publisher, Dr. William Andrews. He was in the top of his class in the year 2024. Saving his family from certain annihilation, he escaped to the countryside and accepted the daily routine of survival. Since his wife has passed and his two sons have moved on to find their own share of the untouched world, Dr. Andrews has accepted his new life. His soul has found peace with the world and his thoughts. As days have passed into weeks, weeks into years, Dr. Andrew has the recurring thought that this must be his closing act. But even with everything he's experienced, he will perhaps learn one final lesson, one that will forever change him, once again sparking that old curiosity where hope lies.
Hey, mister. Mister, what are you doing here? My mom and I are staying at the cabin up the road. She said there weren't any other places for miles.
You better get on back to her then. Go on!
Old paranoia begins to resurface in Dr. Andrews' thoughts. For the first time in many years, someone new is aware of his existence. But what does it mean?
Mom, come and watch me. Mister, what are you doing here?
I need you to tell me something.
What?
Did you tell your mother about me? Does she know I was here? Now, I won't be mad at you if you did.
Well, yeah, she told me to invite you to dinner if I saw you again.
She what? Look, I don't know where you and your mother came from, but it's not safe to be alone out here.
Why not?
Well, after the attack, people became cruel.
Are you talking about the transformative period? My teacher told me about that.
You go to school. The last time I heard about schools, they were burning them.
Not mine, I guess.
How many other kids go to school with you?
Maybe 700. We have a good teacher. Mr. Jacques teaches us about everything.
What is he, a Tesla model?
He's Mr. Jacques. I don't know.
Is he a robot?
Not exactly. Oh, hey, Mom. This is the guy I told you about.
Is that right?
I mean you no harm, ma'am. I was just warning her about how dangerous it could be to wander around alone out here.
Thank you. I talked about it yesterday. So, but since you're here, why don't you join us for supper?
Appreciate it, ma'am, but it is not safe to offer people your hospitality.
You said you meant no harm, and I'm inclined to believe you. It's just one meal, and you look like you could use some washing up.
Excuse me. It's just been so long since anyone was kind to me. I'd be glad to join you.
Yes!
What's your name?
It's Bill.
I'm Diana.
Thank you, Diana. That was the best meal I've had in decades.
You're so welcome.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I know this is gonna sound strange, but I know I've seen your face before.
Well, I've led a pretty secluded life, so you're probably confusing me with somebody else.
Wait, you're Bill Andrews? You're famous.
Dr. William Andrews?
Well, I've been called a lot of things, but not famous.
Nobody knew where you went. I thought you were dead.
Well, maybe it's better that way. Everything fell apart, and who's going to wonder about what happened to one old teacher?
You would be surprised. How long have you been staying out here?
29 years and counting.
Whoa.
Bill, can I ask what brings you out here?
Why I came out here. That's really ironic. I spent so many years teaching my students the lessons of AI ethics. And then right before the summer of '33, Academics Council approached me, wanted me to experiment with them. They wanted to create an avatar in my likeness. It would look like me, sound like me, and teach in my place. Well, I refused a course, so one of my colleagues took the course instead. They defied my lessons in the most audacious way possible.
Nobody understood why you resigned.
No.
It all makes sense now.
So I came out here with my family in July of '33, take an early vacation. Then we heard on our shortwave what had happened in New York.
You mean July 18th?
We decided to stay put, avoid the aftermath. We heard about the widespread radiation exposure. We tried to stay in touch, but our battery died. After my wife passed, I tried to keep my sons with me as long as possible. They were men soon enough. I told them it wasn't safe. They told me that we weren't really living. We were just surviving. But I was bitter there for a while. Years have proven that they were probably right.
Poor man. Just wish somebody had found you sooner. There's so much you've missed.
I'm not really worried about what's happening.
So you're not at all curious?
I do have one burning question, actually. How did we come back from that? I mean, how did you both get here?
After the attack, there was war for a time. But we realized if we kept going, there'd be nothing left.
How long did it last?
It only took 2 weeks. That was enough. But radioactive fallout had already spread. And hospitals, along with most of the country, had to rely more heavily on automated helpers. Your guidelines for training them to care for patients saved so many lives, Bill.
So this is the part where you tell me that they took over the world, right?
We had to adapt. Living in a post-nuclear world, millions died. But we were able to build off of your foundational principles and use AI to reprogram DNA.
You what? That was all theoretical.
Look at my hand, Bill.
Is this graphene?
It uses some of its properties.
So you're...
I'm just as human as you, Bill. Both Joanne and I. We live, we grow, we learn, we love, and we work along others as equals. Although some would consider us an abomination.
Excuse me, but how much are you and Joanne is artificial?
I wonder if people with hip replacements or artificial hearts used to be asked the same question. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, if I were to guess, roughly 80%?
80%.
We're just enhanced.
80%. In all my years of predicting what might happen, what AI meant, I never would have imagined we could have done this. How did we progress so rapidly?
It's all because of you, William. You created us in a way.
But you're both beautiful. I mean, in all my years of wondering why I kept going, what I was doing. But it was so I could see you.
You're dying, aren't you?
How did you know?
Your heart is weak, but your mind is still so strong. If you like, we can add more years to your life. Either way, you're welcome to stay with us.
Stay here? You hardly know me.
There's so much that you should see. People who want to meet you. But if you want to be on your own, you can.
That's very generous, but I think I'll pass. My world's ending. Your world's just beginning. My wife's waiting for me.
What a lovely mind you have, Phil. We will remember you fondly.
Well, thank you for a wonderful dinner. I need to get going. It's going to be dark soon.
Goodbye, Bill.
Goodbye, Joanne. It was very nice to meet you.
Earth would never see another like Dr. Andrews. He was the last of his kind. For years, he feared that the world was ending, but in reality, it was only his world. A new age is dawning. Peace is being restored, and compassionate beings, who some may not consider to be fully human, are advancing the human race. In the end, perhaps it always was the next logical step.